Welcome to Chin's Bakery Training Center. Welcome to my channel, Bread Making Masterclasses at Chin's Bakery Training Center, where we offer baking skills in bread making and bread shaping techniques. Do well to make inquiries, and for further training, contact us with these two numbers: 081 084 36104 or 080 33 206 111. Please don't forget to subscribe and share your likes. So let's get started. Today we'll be making 3 major shapes. But before we start, you need to know the basic ingredients we need. The first ingredient and the major ingredient is our flour. This is a 1 kg flour that has been sifted, and we pour it into a bowl. The first step in bread making, which we have been doing and which is a basic foundation, is having your flour sifted. And for this recipe, we'll be using 1 pint bucket of flour and our sugar, 2 to 3 cups of sugar. 1, 2 cups of sugar will do. For this recipe, we use 2 spoons of yeast. As I said, we need flour, we need sugar, and yeast. Those are the basic ingredients. 2 teaspoons of yeast. You can have your nutmeg grated inside. Nutmeg is grated inside for flavor's sake. Use our grater or use our own grating machine to bring out natural flavor. With our hand, we air, so there'll be thorough mixing. This is a handmade bread. It's called artisan, art of baking bread by hand. The next most important ingredient is warm water. Warm water. We'll be measuring 2 bowls of warm water. Make a hole at the center. Make a well at the center. Warm water from our kettle. When you put your hand there, it shouldn't be too hot. It should be lukewarm. This is the first batch. Make a well at the center. Pour inside. Make another well at the center. Another water. Pour inside. That's 2 bowls. Then you now start mixing with your hand. Clean hands. I've cleaned my hand before starting. You now start mixing with your hand. Clean hand. Clean hand. With your hand, the texture is becoming more and more soft. This is called mixing. That's the first stage in bread making. Mixing it with your hand. Now, after mixing it with your hand, you keep mixing until it comes together. We still need a little bit more water because your hand shows whether the mixing is still stiff. You can see it's still stiff, so I can put a little bit more water at that side, and then we start mixing, ensuring that all the flour has penetrated into the mixture. As you see, as I'm mixing, the dough starts coming together. It's not too sticky. If it is too sticky, we have to add our rubbing in flour. We separate this aside. for rubbing in case we put the butter at a level in which the dough is too sticky. You can see it has come together. We now remove the dough and we put our butter, melted butter. This butter has been detoured. So this is the melted butter. It has to be melted butter. This melted butter, 2 spoons. You can see melted butter looks like this. And we measure half cup. This half cup of melted butter. When you pour the melted butter, it gives it a lighter texture. And as the lighter texture is formed, it also adds to the flavor. You can see as I'm rolling it, it's coming together more and it's becoming less sticky because of the melted butter. You can also put oil to increase the volume and keep it from sticking. Normally oil doesn't give taste, but melted butter gives it flavor along with adding volume to our bread. As you can see, it's no longer sticking to my hand like before. And now we cover it up with the black nylon and leave it to rest for 1 hour, 30 minutes, or until it's double in size. Then we go to the next stage, which is rolling and proofing. Then we bench rest it before we start shaping the rolls. All these steps are being taught in my previous channel, which you can check. For today, we're making 3 major shapes: the sausage and the buns and the plaited shapes. I have the cover. Thank you very much. The cover, and let it rest for 1 hour. Hello bakers, welcome back. Happy New Year, and this is now the time to do the bread shaping. Bread shaping techniques, I said we'll be doing the plated. This is our bread roll which has rested. We bench rested it. Now we want to shape it into the plated shape. These are rubbing in oil so that it doesn't stick to my hand. So we flatten it and use a rolling pin. Rolling forward and backward, forward and backward. A rolling pin. Once it's sticking to our hand, use your rubbing in butter to lift it away from the surface. You flatten it, rub it gently at the top, forward and backward with the rolling pin. Can use our scissors if you don't have a rolling pin to cut to the center. Cut to the center. No, sorry, cut to the end. You cut to the end. And then you can see it forms like a sailor's hook. Please, you start plaiting it. Start plaiting it. Plait, 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 left, right, and we're talking the end. Here also, we're talking at the end. That's our plaited roll. Place it into the baking pan. This is the second one. This is the sausage. The sausage. Make it into a bowl. Flatten it with your hand. Use your rubbing in oil. Flatten this with your hand, or you can use your rolling pin. And we start rolling from one side, the longest side. Start rolling from the longest side. 1, 2. Take the other side. Start rolling. 1, 2. And then we're talking at the end. And see, we're talking it at the end to give it a seal. That's as simple as ABC. You can now score it or scissors it. 1, 2, 3, and place it in your baking tray neatly. The last shape is the buns burger roll. I roll it with my hand. Roll it with my hand with this part of my hand forward and backward, forward and backward, forward and backward. Use my oil so that it doesn't stick to my hand. My oil doesn't stick to my hand. And if it's too sticky, your rubbing in flour is there. But be careful how you put your rubbing in flour, because you can make it, bring it into a dense dough. So lightly flour it. Lightly. Make it a little bit more firm. And there you are. Now, what you do next, flatten it, take it to the other side. Use your rubbing in flour. You look at it like this. Spread it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything is at the center. Pinch it up and roll it back. Start rolling. Keep tucking it in to give it a firm structure at the end. Keep tucking it in. And there you are. Buns burger. Now we're knocking it down. The more you knock it down, the more it becomes stiff. Put a little more flour. And you see that it's less sticky to my hand. Flatten it and then start tucking it into this from the side to the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then gather it up at the top like a floating balloon. Put a little more flour. Pinch it at the top. Then gently turn it up to the other side. You can start rolling it gently, or using one part of your hand to roll it forward and backward until it makes a ball. Put your flour, burger buns, and flatten it and place it on the baking pan. Now the last stage is to score it. Score it with your scissors to help increase the rising of the dough. Butter the surface with oil before putting it in the oven. Butter the surface with oil to give it a golden brown color. You need to butter the surface with oil to give it a golden brown color. These are our final products.